Hello there and a very good evening to you from ITV News West Country. I'm Scott Salter with the headlines now here in the West. And first, a pedestrian has died when he was hit by a lorry in Bristol. The man in his 20s died in the collision on the A4174 early on Saturday morning, Avon and Somerset police said. Well, a spokesman said the lorry driver reported seeing a man walking on the road between the Bromley Heath and Wickwick roundabout at about 1:47 in the morning. Well, shortly afterwards, another lorry struck him and he died at the scene. Elsewhere now, and a man and a woman died after the car they were in left the road and crashed in Somerset. Avon and Somerset police said it happened on the A39 at Rush Hill near the village of Farrington Gurney at about 8 on Friday night. Well, a 19-year-old woman and a 21-year-old man who were passengers in the car were seriously injured and died at the scene shortly afterwards. Well, the driver of the vehicle received minor injuries, police said. And another passenger was taken to Southmead Hospital in Bristol with serious injuries. Elsewhere, relatives have paid tribute to a loving man who was fatally stabbed in Swindon on Thursday. Alton Thomas Rogers, aged 60 and known as Tom, died from multiple stab wounds after an attack on a cycle path near the town's train station. Well, Mr. Rogers worked at the Woodlands Edge pub on Midwinter Close and left there at about 10:30 that night. Well, police want anybody who saw him to contact them. They said there was no apparent motive for the attack. A deal is close to being done to keep a Banksy artwork on the side of a house in Cheltenham, according to a London art dealer. Robin Barton from the Bank Robber Gallery said that a six-figure deal would allow Spy Booth to remain in place on the Grade 2 listed building. Well, locals have been trying to save it after it was claimed on Thursday that it had been sold and would be removed. Well, the work depicting men snooping on a telephone box appeared there back in April. One of Bristol's long-running music venues has been moved ahead of a refurbishment. The Thekla, which has been docked by the Grove near Bristol Bridge, has been a fixture in the harbour since the early 1980s. It will undergo a transformation in the dry dock over the next 6 weeks. Well, the former cargo ship was converted into a theatre by the artist and musician Vivian Stanshall, formerly of the Bonzo Dog Do That band. Well, staying in music, and this year's Glastonbury Festival is the first ever to be awarded gold status by campaigners who want better access for deaf and disabled people at concerts and music venues. Festival organisers said that the award was a sign of how society is changing the way it thinks and acts towards disability. Well, the event has a bespoke campsite for deaf and disabled festival goers, uses raised viewing platforms for wheelchair users at 11 stages, and employs sign language interpreters to allow deaf people to understand lyrics during live acts. And finally, EE, the technology partner of Glastonbury Festival, installed the latest 4G Wi-Fi technology at this year's event for festival goers to use for free. Inspired by the award-winning dairy herd at Worthy Farm, each 4G Wi-Fi hotspot took the form of a festival-themed life-size cow and allowed users to log on and upload festival memories in super-fast time. Well, the fiberglass cow statues were decorated by one of the festival's legendary artists, Hank. Now, let's move on to the weather, shall we? Here's tonight's forecast. Alright there, thank you very much indeed, and I'm afraid to say that is all we've got time for tonight. Do stay tuned right here on ITV. It's up next, it's You Cannot Be Serious. No, that's not what I think of the programme, that's actually the programme's name. Anyway, we'll be back bright and early during Good Morning Britain tomorrow. Do join us then if you can, but from all the late team here tonight, thanks very much indeed for your company, and we'll see you soon. Good night.